Hello, you're watching VNA News and Analyze.
The second Congress of Vietnamese Young Talents opens in Hanoi. Cashew nut export rakes in $2.2 billion in the first 11 months. Vietnam-Cuba Country Day marks diplomatic ties.
The second Congress of Vietnamese Young Talents opened in Hanoi on December 13th with a participation of 364 delegates, representing prominent youths in all spheres and sectors across the country. More in the following report.
Addressing the event, Vice Chairwoman of the National Assembly Tòng Thị Phóng highlighted the party and state's consistent policy of finding out, training and using talents, especially young persons, to accelerate the course of industrialization and modernization, as well as international integration. The party has always considered humans as the target and momentum of development. The official urged the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union to reform operations so as to create more favorable conditions for young talents to achieve greater successes in study and work. Amidst the country's international integration process, she called upon young Vietnamese to make efforts in study and work, thus contributing to the country's strong and sustainable development.
The formation of the ASEAN Economic Community, or AEC for short, is expected to bring in opportunities for the development of financial markets and economies of the member nations and Vietnam in particular. This is the focus of discussion at a seminar in Hanoi on December 13th.
Once AEC is established, Vietnam will have various opportunities to participate deeper in the global value chain. The country's market will be improved by developing an effective trade environment, simplifying customs procedures, and reducing costs for international commercial transactions. Joining AEC will offer Vietnam a big chance to speed up institutional reforms, modernize the economy, and enhance its development level.
Joining AEC will help Vietnamese businesses to improve their products and reassess the domestic market before making more investment and stepping up export.
However, when participating in AEC, Vietnam will also face a range of challenges, such as limited capital sources, backward technologies, untrained human resources, and unqualified managing personnel, especially those of small and medium enterprises.
The first start should be done is to cut prices and improve the quality of products. We have an abundant supply of agricultural products, but they have poorer quality, form and output as compared to those of Thailand.
AEC will create a common market with a population of 650 million and an annual GDP of $2,000 billion. If successful, AEC will strongly foster economic growth of the member nations and Vietnam as well.
Vietnam earned almost $2.2 billion from shipping 300,000 tons of cashew nuts abroad, up 19.2% and 7.3% year-on-year respectively.
In November alone, the country exported 25,000 tons of processed cashew nuts, pocketing $186 million. The average export price was $7,269 per ton, up 11.3% compared to the same period last year. China, the Netherlands, and the US remain three largest importers of Vietnamese cashew nuts. The Vietnam Cashew Association said the country targets 320,000 tons of cashew nut exports and $2.5 billion in revenue in 2015. Cashew nuts have become one of the key export staples of Vietnam's farming sector, following rice, rubber, and coffee. Vietnam is now home to over 300,000 hectares of cashew in Bình Phước, Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu, and Đồng Nai provinces in the southern region, Phú Yên and Bình Định in the central region, and Đắk Lắk in the central highlands.
The domestic retail industry has seen an increasing number of new foreign retailers and expanded business networks by operating retail giants. Hence, local retailers will face big challenges if they do not build partnerships and change their ways of doing business.
Lotte Mart, E-Mart and Aeon are among many foreign retail brands that have become familiar to Vietnamese consumers. The French retailer Auchan Super is going to open 2 supermarkets in Ho Chi Minh City before increasing the number of its stores to 17 in 2016, with a total investment of 35 to 40 million euros. In addition, the Japan-based VNA Holdings is planning to build the first 7-Eleven store in Vietnam in 2017. This is posing a big challenge to domestically invested retailers.
Sự cạnh tranh này phải nói là tôi cho là không cân sức.
That is unfair to domestic retailers because foreign retail giants have the advantage in terms of capital and management. They have global supply chains, so they can cut down costs. Meanwhile, up to 90% of directors of domestically owned supermarkets have not been trained in retail management. Besides, weak linkages among domestic retailers is another problem.
Và cuối cùng một cái yếu nhất đó là sự liên kết.
For consumers, foreign invested supermarkets and convenience stores are more attractive than domestic ones as they have their own advantages.
Mình cũng rất là hay đi nhưng mà chủ yếu
I often go shopping at foreign invested supermarkets in Vietnam because they sell more goods with better quality.
cái chất lượng dịch vụ nó cũng tốt hơn nữa. Em hay vào những siêu thị này để mua đồ.
I prefer foreign-owned supermarkets which have larger shopping spaces and better services. Financial potentials, workforces, and market shares are big problems for domestic retailers. In anticipation of imminent difficulties, several Vietnamese retailers have sought to sell their shares or entire business systems to foreign firms. For instance, 2 retail brand names, City Mart and Phi Mart, which have been familiar to domestic consumers, are now connected with the leading brand Aeon of Japan.
Khi họ mua được những doanh nghiệp bán lẻ thì họ
Once foreign retail giants acquire Vietnam retailers, they would obtain the existing market shares of domestic companies. I think we need to invest more in renovating technology to better meet consumers' requirements in the near future.
theo nhu cầu của người tiêu dùng trong thời gian tới.
Almost all foreign retailers operating in Vietnam have the advantage over local firms, especially in terms of capital and business management. Hence, a closer linkage among domestically invested retailers is an urgent need.
Creating a linkage between retailers, producers, and distributors is a must. We also have to raise labor productivity in trade while enhancing the efficiency of business administration and human resource development. We will collaborate with domestically invested retailers and producers to map out an overall retail planning for the Vietnamese retail industry. Also, we will review all existing mechanisms and policies and make amendments if needed.
A modern distribution chain has not yet boomed in Vietnam, as it makes up only 25% of the total Vietnamese retail market. This would be a magnet for foreign retail giants. In order to take the advantage back, Vietnamese retailers need to join hands together.
The Trans-Pacific Partnership and EU-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement's deep roots of origin will make it hard for Vietnam to expand its garment, textile and footwear exports to these markets. More details coming up next.
According to the World Bank's latest report on the TPP's impacts on Vietnam, a large part of Vietnam's current exports in the garment and textile industry would likely not comply with the TPP's rule of origin requirements. Under the TPP's Yard Forward rule of origin, to benefit from a 0% imported tariff rate instead of the current 15 to 20%, all manufacturing processes including yarn spinning, knitting and dyeing must be implemented in a TPP member country. According to the report, most imported yarn and fiber used by Vietnam's garment producers are mainly sourced from non-TPP markets, including Taiwan, China, the Republic of Korea, Thailand and Indonesia. Materials imported from TPP member states occupy only 5.3%. Meanwhile, under the EU-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement, the EU will eliminate duties within 7 years for Vietnam's textiles, apparel and footwear products from the existing duty rate of 12.4%. However, to benefit from the preferential access, this agreement's strict rule of origin for garments requires the use of fabrics produced in Vietnam. This would also mean that Vietnam will find it difficult to meet this EU strict rule of origin requirements. Also, according to the World Bank, the rule of origin also creates opportunities for a slew of foreign firms to come to Vietnam to directly make textile, garment and footwear materials.
Hanoi's Department of Tourism reported nearly 3 million foreign visitors have arrived in the city since the outset of 2015, up 14% from the same period last year.
The capital city welcomed holidaymakers from 160 countries and territories worldwide. Despite global economic downturn, Hanoi has seen impressive growth of foreign travelers with an annual average growth rate of 10%. In the past few years, the city's tourism sector has made concerted efforts to improve management efficiency and develop high-quality and competitive tourism products such as historic cultural sites, handicraft items, festivals, and meetings, incentives, convention and events tourism. In addition, the tourism department pays attention to promoting and building Hanoi tourism brand. The city is focusing to make investment in comprehensive and modern facilities as well as create top-quality tourism packages, making Hanoi become an attractive destination in the country and the region at large.
A Vietnam-Cuba Cultural Day was held in Ho Chi Minh City on December 13th to mark the 55th anniversary of diplomatic ties between two countries and 57 years of Cuban Revolution. Let's take a look.
Trương Thị Hiền, president of the Ho Chi Minh City Vietnam-Cuba Friendship Association, emphasized the Vietnam-Cuba relationship has been substantially strengthened in the past years with visits of high-ranking leaders from the two countries. The visits' results and joint statements of the leaders are strong evidence to the resolve of the parties, governments and people of the two countries in preserving and strengthening their fraternal unity, support and comprehensive cooperation. Meanwhile, Cuban General Consul Bernab Garcia Valido expressed his belief that with the long and sustainable unity, Vietnamese and Cuban citizens of today and future generations will continue to foster the friendship, comprehensive cooperation, and absolute confidence between the two parties, states, and peoples. There were many activities during the Vietnam-Cuba Cultural Day, such as a flag-fighting contest on Cuba and the Vietnam-Cuba friendship, and the performance of Vietnamese and Cuban songs. Visitors also had a chance to taste Cuban dishes, such as mojito drink and congre rice.
A festival promoting cultural exchanges between Vietnam and the Republic of Korea took place in the central city of Da Nang on December 12 as part of activities to celebrate the 23rd anniversary of diplomatic ties between two countries.
The affiliation between the Republic of Korea and Da Nang City will receive a new boost with the recent launch of a direct air service between Da Nang and Incheon City. Korean tourists comprise the second largest segment of foreign tourist arrivals in Da Nang. The two countries have reached significant achievements in their multi-faceted ties over the last 23 years, especially in economics. The Republic of Korea is currently the leading foreign investor in Vietnam, and two-way trade is expected to hit nearly $40 billion this year. The number of Korean visitors to Vietnam has surged by over 30% so far this year, while that of Vietnamese traveling to the Republic of Korea increased by nearly 15% over the same period last year.
And that has wrapped up our news bulletin. Thanks for joining us, and goodbye for now.